Granny, the sweet old lady who runs the Granny's Potion Shop in Ocarina of Time, has a dirty secret that she has desperately tried to keep under wraps for years. Oh, but she won't pull the wool over my eyes. I know exactly what she did. And by the end of this video, you won't be able to look at her in the same way ever again. Prepare for your childhood to be utterly ruined. As a bit of housekeeping, I must point out that these four characters are a family. Granny is the mother, the Master Craftsman is the father, the Cuckoo Lady is the daughter, and the Master Craftsman's son is, well, the son, if you couldn't tell. For the purposes of this video though, I'll only be looking at Granny, the Master Craftsman, and the Master Craftsman's son, since they're all I need to really close the book on this one. I have been working on a theory about the Cuckoo Lady that I'll release at a later point. Alright, let's get to Granny's dirty secret. Each member of this family has their own major issues. Firstly, the Master Craftsman has disowned his son for being lazy. He tells Link, "Young men these days don't have any ambition. Even my own son doesn't have a job, and he just wanders around all day. They're all worthless, I tell you." He also calls Granny his old lady. Not a very nice term for his presumed wife. Secondly, the Master Craftsman's son despises both of his parents, but more so his mother. He says to Link, "People are disgusting. My own father and mother are disgusting. You must be disgusting too." In addition to thinking all people are disgusting, he also doesn't believe that any men can be nice. During the Bigoron Sword side quest, when Link delivers Kojiro to him, he exclaims in a shocked manner, "Kojiro, why? Normally only a nice guy like me can tame you." Which means, you must be a nice guy. Must be. You must be. He also, very affectionately, calls his mother an old hag. So it's quite clear that he despises his parents and men in general, and there must be some history there. Finally, Granny herself despises her son just as much as he despises her. She calls him a fool and a bum, and doesn't seem to care too much when she learns that her son has been turned into a Stalfos in the Lost Woods. In fact, she calls her only son, who has just met with this terrible fate, a fool again, and goes back to petting her cat. You know, what any loving, nurturing mother would do. Okay, so obviously there's a lot of lost love going on, and something really terrible must have occurred in this family for everyone to be so resentful toward each other. Something that would make a son call his parents disgusting. Something that would strain the relationship between a husband and a wife. Wait, could Granny have cheated on the Master Craftsman? Well, that would explain a lot of things, but there's nothing to actually support that theory. Is there? Oh, there actually is. The lake scientist is the old man at the Lakeside laboratory. When Link first speaks to him, he says, "Hello there, son. I'm researching the process of making medicine by mixing Lake Hylia's water with various unusual compounds." You know, nothing to see here, just a scientist excited to be conducting research. As it turns out though, he's excited to tell Link about more than just an experiment. In a moment that feels very out of place, he then says, "Perhaps you've met that old lady from the potion shop. She is like a student of mine." Yeah. Not only is this line so utterly out of place, but he even says, "like a student of mine," and then lets out a suggestive cackle. The lake scientist does look age appropriate for Granny, and the ellipses used seem to suggest a larger notion, suggesting a deeper involvement with Granny. Okay, maybe I'm reading too deeply into this. But remember when we give the Master Craftsman's son Kojiro and he tells us to deliver the odd mushroom to the old hag? Well, he doesn't just refer to his mother as an old hag in this moment. At the very last second, as if Nintendo was trying to sneak this line under the radar, he tells Link, "Hurry up, nice guy, before it disappears. Deliver it to that old wench. That old wench, he says. And what does wench mean? A prostitute. That's right, Granny's own son calls her a prostitute. And if the idea is that she cheated on her husband, this epithet is a pretty clear indicator that her son knows what she did. He knows Granny's dirty secret, and he knows that she knows that he knows. And now we know. If you think that things just got juicy, things are about to get even juicier, because I believe that the Master Craftsman and Granny even got a divorce. The Master Craftsman's son is known for stealing things. He stole a rare forest mushroom, and he also stole his father's poacher's saw. There's some interesting history surrounding this poacher's saw. Again, during the Bigoron Sword side quest, when Link delivers the poacher's saw to the Master Craftsman, he says, "Hey, that saw, it's mine. But I thought I left that saw with my old lady. Oh well." Once again, a seemingly out-of-place line. Why do we need to know that he left it with his wife if it was his saw anyway? There was no need for us to know that. Unless it was a hint. What if it wasn't his saw? At least not anymore. And his ex-wife, Granny, had gained possession of it through a divorce settlement. Think about it. He sees his old saw, immediately exclaims, "Oh, that's mine!" But then the reality hits him that it isn't his, and that it's now his wife's saw. So he stammers out I thought that was with my old lady. Notice how he doesn't say his wife either, but he calls her his old lady? Not really a term of endearment for one to whom you've made a lifelong commitment. Another thing, why would his wife, who is as blind as a bat by her own decree, need a saw for any reason? She doesn't, that's the answer. So the Master Craftsman's son must have stolen the saw from his mother, who wouldn't have known anyway, and left it behind in the forest to be delivered to his father. It was his son's twisted way of actually doing something nice, trying to make amends with his father. Speaking of the Master Craftsman's son, you'll notice something interesting about him if you look closely. He's wearing 2 identical rings, one on each hand. Could these be his parents' wedding rings? I believe so. He's already proven that he'll steal from them. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if the box he's sitting on and those bags were stolen from his parents too. If his parents did get a divorce and both of their valuable rings were just sitting there in disuse, why wouldn't their bum of a son steal them? However, the most obvious hint that they are divorced is the fact that they're never shown together, not even during the end credits. All the other families are shown together, so why not them? I think it's time to explain how everyone ended up as they did. The Master Craftsman was always hard on his son, as that's how he thought he should be raised, to be rough and tough like his father. But his son didn't want to be a tough guy, or a carpenter. He wanted to work with animals, and he took a keen interest in cuckoos. His father didn't allow cuckoos in the house, however, as cuckoo allergies run in the family. So his son spent a great deal of time wandering around in search of cuckoos, and found that he loved the freedom of simply wandering around. He always resented his father for never understanding him, and Granny knew that. Carpentry is a job that took the Master Craftsman all over Hyrule, and he was rarely around for his family. As the years went by, Granny grew to resent her husband more and more. She eventually came to resent all of her family. Granny, while gathering herbs in Hyrule Field for her potions, happened to meet a caring man, one who shared an interest in chemistry and medicine just like her. She fell in love with this man, the lake scientist, and had an affair with him. Her son was the first one to find out, since he always kept a wandering eye on his mother. The son knew who this man was, as the lake scientist also had an interest in breeding mini cuckoos, and the son had bought Kojiro from him before. When the Master Craftsman's son broke the news to him, a long argument ensued. Initially, Granny and the Master Craftsman tried to work things out and remain in the marriage. The son hated this and thought his father was disgusting for ever taking back the woman who had cheated on him. A while later, after things still weren't working out, they decided to get a divorce. At first, the son was happy about the divorce, but later, being so lonely, he realized that he wanted his family back. So, he devised a plan that he thought could bring his parents back together. He wanted to return his father's saw to him and make it seem like it was a gift from Granny. He then wanted to give his mother a rare forest mushroom for her to make a special potion with, and make it seem like it was a gift from the master craftsman. But he died in the Lost Woods in his attempts to bring them back together, turning into a Stalfos. Thankfully, Link was there to help him finish his quest, even if he couldn't be there to see its completion. It was a hopeless mission from the start, however, and Granny and the Master Craftsman never remarried. At the end of the game, we see Granny sitting off to the side, sullenly petting her cat, the only thing in her life that hasn't rejected her because of what she's done. The Master Craftsman looks perfectly content being away from Granny and surrounding himself with his workers, his loyal workers who will never betray him. And that's why he works so hard to fix things around Hyrule, to take his mind off of the one thing he couldn't fix, his marriage. Well, that's the theory. I do think it is the most likely explanation for what happened in this family, because at the end of the day, something had to have happened to make all of them resent each other so much. Let me know in the comments what you think tore this family apart. As always, I thank you so much for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more, my Hylians.